beautiful gemstones. Welcome to Thursday night Chillax and Chat, which is going to be a bi-weekly thing until further notice. Vixen Doe, Lukum Spookum, and Baby UFO, welcome. Thank you for joining us. It says there's 6 in chat, then it's going back and forth from 4. As most of you know, I'm having a little bit of issues with my Wi-Fi, and I already see it starting up. So it may end up being just Ghost Dragons and Paranormal Pixie for a little bit while I figure that out. Donna Messenger, what's this? This is the Thursday night stream I was doing for quite a while with Paranormal Pixie and Ghost Dragons, and I dropped it because I thought I was on a different schedule at home. But since I'm not on that schedule at home, we're going to do this every other week. So on the weeks that we do the Monday afternoon show, afternoon talk, we're going to do this as well. And then on the weeks in between, it's going to be conversations with Lara, the Paranormal Pixie Hour. And then, as you guys know, Friday night at midnight is Midnight Vibes with Ghostdragonzw. So behold, Mike J. Hi. So I filmed a whole video today, guys. It took me like an hour and 20 minutes, and I looked like poop. And now I'm angry because I feel like I look so much better now. But of course, you know, that's the way it goes. So forgive the way I look in my newest video. I am exhaust balls, okay? I'm going to bring in Ghostdragonzw and Paranormal Pixie. Let them pick up a little bit of the slack here. And here we go.
Hey, everybody. I was trying to type, but my keyboard is sticking so bad. I guess I have to buy a keyboard now.
Why don't you just clean it?
I tried. They brought it to me like this when they took it and cleaned everything after the fire. And a couple buttons stuck, and then they didn't stick anymore. Now everything's sticking.
Oh, that's
yeah. I'd let them know, but yeah, definitely.
Well, I'll just get a new one. They're cheap.
Yeah.
I love my little laptop. I don't know what I would do with it. So, how's everyone doing? I really didn't come in with a game plan. It's been a few weeks since we've done this stream, trying out new and different things, and everything seems to be working. Ghost Dragons, your stream, Miss Lara, your stream, and I thank you guys so much for doing that for me and helping the channel move along. And people are really excited about the new lineup, and they're waiting for a Saturday from Ghost Dragons too. So pretty soon.
Nice.
And that's about it for my day. Just working.
Before I forget, and I know you probably had it in the back of your mind and it got shuffled off to Buffalo. I will not be around next week because I will be in sunny Las Vegas.
Oh my God.
Bobby and I we're going out for the Spaced Out Radio fan party. And so it'll be a chance to get to meet actually a lot of folks that we know mutually from the chats. So we have a timeshare out there. Mm-hmm. So we're actually taking, a few days either side. So we can just relax and play, goof off, go see shows or whatever.
Yeah.
But then that Saturday, we'll get to go and actually meet some folks in person. Like I'll get to meet Kira and Jules, and yeah, that'll be fun.
I don't know who any of those people are, but I hope you have fun. I wonder if John Hudson's going. If he is, you got to give him a hug for me. He's the only one that I really know from Space Out Radio that I kind of kept in touch with. I'm gonna have to ask him. But that sounds like so much fun. I was so upset I had to miss it last year. Take lots of pictures.
I will.
Just have a great time.
Will.
Be safe.
Thank you.
Be safe. We'll figure something out for that night. Either Steven and I'll stream or we'll just give it a break for that night. Most people forget that this show happens anyway, like when it's the 3 of us. I guess because I kind of canceled it and now it's back. So I just figured whoever comes strolling in, it's fine because I don't usually come to this show with a plan because I want the chat to be able to ask questions. This is kind of a time for that too. Right. They usually come in asking for you and I or for Ghost Dragons questions. And I know Monday when I was talking about some of the most prominent signs of spiritual awakening with, at first there will be, very excessive weight gain and then excessive weight loss all at once. And I mean, if you guys look at me, it's the perfect example when you start to, and I'm not bragging, I was very concerned about my weight and I didn't understand what was happening to me. And it wasn't because I thought I was fat. When you're used to being a certain weight and you gain 70 or 80 pounds, it's, you know, I was up to almost 180 like 6-7 months ago. And for me, I'm usually like 130. And it was concerning for me because I don't eat a lot. Like this is my dinner. So I didn't understand. And then I started communicating more with my guides. And I started asking spirit, you know, should I be, they don't really tell me like, hey, you're sick, you need to go to the doctor, unless I come out and ask, because they can't interfere. I finally was like, listen, I gained all this weight. Now I'm pretty skinny again, at least from the waist up. Is there something going on that I should be concerned about? And they were very excited that I finally asked, because they explained that you kind of retain water weight. Your body does it because your body knows what's going on before you do. Like when you're going to pass away and it's a contracted death, which most deaths are, not all, your spirit, your soul will know about 4 months, 3 to 4 months before it happens, and start like you'll start subconsciously getting little hits, whether you recognize them or not. So your body starts preparing, your soul starts preparing for the exit. Your body starts taking this water and using it to like conduce the energy or be conductive with all of the energy flowing in, because you're being bombarded with all this energy. And then once you get through that phase, the water weight drops because you level out energetically. And that is the sign of a very, I don't want to say severe because it's a really good thing, a lot of elevation happening all at once. And I was really excited to hear that, because I know I've changed so many things, like my mind frame about really not just saying it, because I started out saying it to myself and not living it. That's for me, that's what I have to do. I have to fake it till I make it. And I just kept saying, Gemma, you can't control that. Gemma, you can control this. Gemma, you can't control. Don't respond to that, Gemma. Don't react that way, Gemma. Gemma, don't even bother asking. Like, but you can control this. And I just kept having to really force myself. It was a lot of tears, a lot of heartbreak, pain, coming to terms with a lot of things going on in my life that I didn't want to see all around me. But when I finally did it, that's when it was like the weight kind of fell off almost overnight. And it's cool because you can watch the transition from 1 week to the next week. I was like 170 pound Gemma, and now I'm 140 pound Gemma. And that's why. Obviously, if you're losing or gaining a lot of weight and you're concerned about it, go to a doctor. But it is a sign of spiritual awakening. And Lara, I want you to comment on this too as soon as I finish. I know we covered this Monday, but I just want to go over it again because so many people were interested in it. So many people asked me to continue talking about it. Infinite psychosis. What's up, Blue Crossroads? Hold that thought, baby. So also, it's like being super duper sensitive, not only sensitive where you're picking up other energies, right? It got to the point where I was like, I don't know, honestly, and I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I was like, I don't know if I want to live anymore. If I have to pick up this much stuff, it's how will I live? I can't go to get my mail because I'm feeling my neighbor 3 houses down, you know, or 5 houses down on the other side. Her husband was a police officer and he took his own life, and I'm feeling that, and I'm like, but it's also touch, like more sensitive, believe it or not, with touch and smell, and all of your other senses just kind of explode. And it all happens fairly quickly. Your body knows what it's doing, just like your body can heal itself. Blue Crossroad said Shauna gained some weight about 5 months before she passed, and about 2 months before her death, she dropped a lot of weight. That was also probably her condition, but I do believe 100% that her body was preparing. Her soul was preparing, because I did a read for her 3 months before her death. And I mentioned to Ghost Dragons, I said, there's no way I can give her this reading. I said, should I give it to Blue Crossroads? And he's like, you have to make that decision. And I was like, I'm not going to give them this because it predicted her death. And I didn't want to be that messenger. So I went over it with my guides, and they're like, it's not time for her to know. And that's happened more than once. Larry Alderman, he used to come in here. It happened with his mother. I predicted hers, and he was bat poop crazy over it. And I just didn't want to be the bearer of that. But your body always
Mhm.
knows, like your body can heal itself.
Yeah, definitely. And that whole energetic leveling up, whether it's like in my case where I'm having abilities that are awakening, like clairgustance, being able to taste things out of the blue, being able to get smells out of the blue, or my cognitive abilities and them getting stronger. Your body is using that water to help that energy flow. Where mostly water as it
Yep.
is, and then we're
The
walking
conductor.
battery, and it and so yeah, your body will hold on to that water because it needs it. And then once that fine tuning has happened, then it goes back down. But then the other thing we have to look at and be mindful of is if, like, for instance, what I'm doing, I'm taking classes, so I am actively pursuing to refine my abilities, refine my gifts. My water intake has to increase because I am burning through that water and I will get headaches otherwise. And, Sarah and I have talked about it, and she talked about it in class, that a lot of people will have that same issue, especially if, especially the claircogs, the clairvoyants, um, because you're
Yes.
overworking, overstimulating your third eye so much doing this work that you need that extra water intake, and your body will also try to hold on to it.
Yeah, Stephen, what do you think about that? Any thoughts? No, you're on mute. You're on mute.
These little cards.
No. So everybody's different. So it's hard
Yeah.
to judge. Um, when I went through my big change, I gained a lot of weight like you did, and
Yeah.
then boom, it was gone. And then I gained a little bit of it back when I got comfortable with everything.
Right.
When I
Mm-hmm.
realized for sure this is what was going to happen, I was not going to be able to stop it, and things chilled out. Now
Yeah.
I'm kind of bouncing around, but that has a lot to do with some other issues. It doesn't help when they
That's a
put me
lot
on
to
drugs.
that has a lot to do with that and your living situation. I mean, I know for me personally, like, it's not universal, guys. Oh, thank you, Blue Cross Roads. It's not universal. So it's not that if this isn't happening to you, you're not going through an awakening. It is a big part of
Right.
most people's awakenings. But listen, if you're working really hard, if you're doing the right thing, the main thing for me, and this is a personal thing, but I do see it a lot in clients as well. But again, nothing is universal. Our bodies are different. Our energies are,
Mm-hmm.
everything's different about each of us for as much as is the same. But I noticed that for me, I guess because of the lessons that I had to learn, I came to understand that I am breaking bonds over the course of lifetimes. And the main thing for me, because I talked to you guys about what's happening, is interpersonal relationships, abuse in all forms. And it's something that I've dealt with through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime. So the reason I think my awakening this time, because we go through many, it was so powerful and so profoundly affected me, is because I'm not just becoming a more spiritually aligned and connected Gemma now. This is how I'm going to bring this knowledge into the next lifetime and maybe not have to, maybe experience real love for the first time in probably, I believe what I understood was like 12 lifetimes. that's why it was so profound and so serious for me. And we all have those things, guys. It's different for everybody. Mine is definitely abandonment issues and interpersonal, like romantic relationships, being the doormat, things like that. But I've been so proud of myself of not looking to certain people for validation. And just, I was telling Mike, I did a video call with Mike because I wanted to, check in with him. And I was telling him, I'm like, dude, you know how weird it is, but I do it. When I'm feeling bad about myself, I walk right into the bathroom, my master bathroom, and I look myself in the face and I say, you are a badass. And I just repeat it until I laugh, because it is silly and it sounds silly. And I'm like, if people could just see me now, it's so silly. But I'll tell you what, I strut out of that bathroom feeling like a badass, and I'm ready to get to work, and I'm ready. This is my dream. Nobody else has to understand why YouTube would be my dream. But it's not really YouTube, is it? It's connection. It's spirituality. I eventually want to move into a spiritual retreat. I mean, it's steps. Hi, Three Souls.
No, absolutely. I agree. Yeah, how was it
It's just so
for you,
profoundly
Stephen? Have you been going through with everything dealing with the house and all of that? How has it been affecting you on that spiritual level? I know at one point you said that you were seeing having a lot of spirit traffic coming through your room and so
It
on.
still is. Actually, after the last couple of weekends, this place has been hopping with all kinds of crazy stuff. So I feel bad for some people I've seen while I've been here. But actually, no, I'm out of my 4 brothers to things really fast. I adapt really fast.
Mm-hmm.
That's one gift I appreciate the most, is I can adapt really fast to things. Now, it has affected. It's actually made mine and Dad's relationship better, even more than it was when I moved. After I moved in, it's become even. We have our moments, but other than that, nothing's really changed. I'm on. The only thing I've had in the last 3 days is, I think, a cup of soup and water and Mountain
That's
Dew.
not good. You got to get some of these babies. This stuff. Let me tell you something. I tell you guys all the time. I'm allergic to artificial sweetener. I cannot have anything that says diet. I cannot have anything that says light. Okay, I'm very, very sensitive to it. I don't get like anaphylaxis, but I do vomit, and sometimes I'll even seize. There's something in it, including stevia. I cannot have any of it. Yes, so anything that's diet or light, even Slim Fast, I can't have it. So if I ever became diabetic, I am screwed. So I kept getting the ads for Kachava. Thank you, Donna. I love you, and I'm proud of you too. We have come a long way. Kachava. So I looked and I'm like, what is Kachava? And I saw that Kachava is not actually the #1 rated. 310 Nutrition is on most sites. It does vary. But if I looked at 15 sites, 310 Nutrition had like 12 of them where they were rated 1 above Kachava, and Kachava was #2. So I checked it out. Of course, on Amazon, it was $90-something for a 1-month supply. I went to the 310 Nutrition website, and it was $40 for a 1-month supply and $7 for shipping. So it was an extra. I had to pay for shipping, which didn't matter because I wasn't paying the $90, and I had to wait like 3 extra days, but it was worth it. What I did first was I got a sample for $23.99 on Amazon. It was 4 flavors, 3 packets of each flavor. All of them were good except the caramel one. There's no artificial sugar. So what I did was I put 1 teaspoon of Nesquik and mixed it in with the rest of them. So this one is horchata. This is the big bag I got. 1 teaspoon of Nesquik, and that's the only sugar that's in it. I drink 2 a day. I planned on drinking 1 a day, but they keep me so full and give me so much energy. Now, I still do have to eat actual food. I'm not just drinking these. But man, I mean, in the 12 days I've been using it. I feel healthier. My hair is healthier. My skin is healthier. I have more energy. It's amazing. And I would recommend it to anybody that's looking just to get healthier. What do you think about this, Lara? Vixen Doe says, I had a dream last night of people telling me to my face that I was, quote, not their type. They didn't care about me. I didn't wake up depressed. I didn't wake up angry or sad. It can't hurt me anymore.
What happened? You got quiet.
Yeah.
No, she's
Okay.
concentrated. She's channeling.
Yeah, thank you. I think that's exactly it. It can't hurt you anymore. You are, because I see movement. I see like you getting out and doing more and being not solitary, but happy to be by yourself with yourself. That what their opinion is doesn't matter. That has all, it's just like taking a coat off. And so, I mean, that's the imagery I'm getting.
You know, I've come across some studies lately where people are not starting to. I mean, this has been going on for a long time, but nobody really knows if it's true, just like with pretty much everything. And I really haven't talked to my guides about it. I've never had precognitive dreams. I would say the experts are saying that, especially the ones in this field who are studying this, are saying that we all dream at least, I believe it's 35 times a night, but we don't remember 35 dreams, right? If we even remember one, we're lucky. The dreams we're not remembering some of them are precognitive. I believe, honestly, within the next, 10, 20 years, maybe sooner, maybe later, it's going to come out that is actually another Claire. I don't know what it's going to be called. I know it is a type of psychism or psychicism. I don't know how to say that now, but I believe that's a Claire. I don't know what it's going to, like Claire dreaming, Claire visualization. It's going to be another Claire. I know it. And what you guys have to understand too is, and I know this for absolute fact, and I know some people don't believe it. And, as always, that is okay. But when we sleep, our soul, keep that up there because I'm gonna address that. Our soul does travel for approximately 3 hours a night. It leaves our body, it goes to other realms, it communicates with our higher self. And what it does is, not only does it go and have some fun because it's like, oh, this human is sleeping, I've got to get out of here, or like, let me out of here, I'm trapped. It goes and, this is just one example. An extraterrestrial will come in and be like, hey, that guy, and this is just, again, an example, that guy beat you up again today. And in your head, you were swearing you were going to leave. But the minute the argument was over and you had the chance, you stayed. What is up with that? I don't understand that. And you kind of sort through all of these things. And I know it sounds silly to some people, but I'm telling you guys, it is absolute fact. And that's why they say, like, our dreams, it's our body's reset. It literally is, because our soul is sorting through the lessons we passed up that we could have learned and moved on from. Those moments in time that will change our lives for the better, for the worse, or for indifference for the rest of our lives. And that could change the course of our, journey.
Absolutely.
Blue Crossroads said, sounds like Vixen was subconscious stress. Go ahead, Lara. I'm sorry. I was just reading Blue Crossroads.
No, it's also higher self giving us advice for what path we should be taking, how we should be acting, what we should be doing to deal with our, daily stress, our personal journey. So yeah, it's that two-way conversation that we have during dream time. And while, that premonition dreams is connected to clairvoyance, which, clear seeing. I'm absolutely in agreement with you, because I've been talking to a lot more people who, like us, have from time to time those precognitive dreams, and they're happening more often. So we've got both the beginners, if you will, that are starting to recognize and remember those precognitive dreams. And then those of us that do have them are having them more frequently, or they've returned. So, yeah, absolutely, I'm in agreement with you.
Mike J, I responded already in the comments, but he said it's always good to visualize a silver cord around your waist, grounded to the center of the earth to ensure you come back. And again, I know a lot of people think that this is silliness, but let me do the cord first, and I got to tell you guys something really funny. So, we're making you tired? We're boring you? No, we're talking about sleep. Go lay down, get some rest. So the cord, that's always a good idea anyway. Now, we do have our spirit team, our guardian angels. They watch over us while we sleep. But when we sleep, and I talk about this in my third book a lot, about spiritual attack while we are asleep. It's not just shadow people. It's not just the old hag. It's not just the hat man. There are real negative, I don't want to use the word evil, but evil, for lack of a better word, forces around us, guys, at all times. Those holes in our energy, those little soul tears that happen when we avoid confronting trauma, when we stay in abusive relationships, when we aren't working on ourselves, when we have no idea of spirituality, they're everywhere, all over the place, all the time, just looking for someone with a little hole. Now, it's the craziest thing, because I was telling someone the other day, like I always do, when I see someone with certain types of abilities, mainly mediumship, but certain clairs too, I will see their energy with a funnel on top of their head. I thought that was just me, that's the way I see it. Then I come to find out, I was listening to an interview on Beyond Belief, because guys know I love George Norrie, and that's on Gaia, where the person was saying that these entities actually use that spiritual funnel to funnel in and connect to the holes in our energy, the tears in our soul. So the funny thing I was going to say is, I was watching Beyond Belief today, and first of all, he did an interview with David Weatherly about the Black Eyed Kids. So much information that I didn't even know, with all the research I've been doing for the past probably 10 years on them. But there was a guy, and it said debunking the paranormal with so-and-so guy. And I'm just like, the guy's like, oh, you're going to have to do better than a little kid that, something, he just trying to debunk The Exorcist, debunk the Poltergeist, debunk Amityville. And yeah, sure, some of them, I do really sincerely believe that Ronald DeFeo was overtaken by a force because of simple facts of the case. Nobody was found running. How did they not hear gunshots? He didn't drug them. I can go on and on about that case. Do I believe the Lutzes so much? No. I believe that they moved in there not planning on staying very long because they didn't have the money. And that's what I was told by somebody who passed on in spirit close to the case. But anyway, he's like, every time these things happen, these poltergeists, there's always a little kid running around. And everyone's like, whoa, look at what just happened. And he's like, you're going to have to do more to prove it to me. I just don't believe. And there was one thing he said to me, and I can't remember what it was, but I literally stopped in my tracks. I literally stopped. I was making my bed or something. And I was like, wow, what does that mean for people like me who know for an absolute fact that spirits exist? To know for an absolute fact that there are dark forces around us at all times, as well as light forces, because I see them. I see the dark ones more than I see the light ones, though. I will tell you that. Okay. And there's this thing where everyone's like, they talk about Satan, and I'm not saying Satan is a good guy, but the devil doesn't have to be evil. Look at the world that is his. He doesn't even have to do his own job anymore. And we have to be really careful that we protect ourselves. The silver cord, Mike, you are on point. Yes. How many people do that before bed? I don't do it. I forget unless I'm planning on astral traveling, which is called something. It's not even called astral traveling anymore. Unidentified. What's up? Lara, what do you think about everything I just said? I know it was a lot.
Yeah, so with the courting, I do something similar in that, I do my oak tree ground when I'm laying down, getting ready to go to sleep, grounding myself to my body, grounding myself to the earth. And that's what works for me personally. I can't say specifically that, doing the silver cord, doing the grounding is what is the end all be all for, keeping your soul from leaving your body, and getting untethered. Because like you said, with our guides, with our guardians, all of that on our side, so long as we are continuing to communicate with them and ask them to be there, to watch over us. I mean, that's, I think, in part why we're instilled, in church as children, or, religions, that, you say your prayers when you go to bed. You pray for yourself, you pray for other people. And, even just in spirituality, I really do find that to be something that makes sense to me. How about you, Stephen?
You're on mute. And thank you, Anthony, so much for that super sticker.
Yes, thank you very much. No, here's the thing. Now, I've asked the astral plane, astral, whatever you want to call it now, ever since I was a child. Ever since I was a child. I don't ever remember. We talked about this on somewhere else, and I kind of remember the cord, but the last couple times I've done it, I don't remember a cord. I just seem to know where I'm at, where I'm going, when I'm coming back. So maybe not everybody has a cord.
No, everybody definitely has one.
Well, I must not see it.
You don't have, and that's what I was going to say. Like, you don't have to see it. A lot of the times it's something that you mentally visualize. I can personally see them sometimes. Like I said, if I'm ready to astral project, it doesn't mean you don't have one. And we all even have cords with, people hate when I say this, but if you have a one-night stand with someone, guess what? You have cord bonded with that person more than likely. That's a lot of the time why. And it's not just a sexual thing, but that is one of the top ones where you end up quickly creating a cord with somebody. You'll be walking down the street singing happy-go-lucky, and then all of a sudden you're like, what the heck? There's no one else around, so you can't be picking up on them. You know what you're picking up on? That idiot that you picked up in the bar 5 years ago is going through a nervous breakdown. You don't feel it fully blast on, but you get a little bit of that. You get a little bit of all of that. That's why I always say it's so important, and I still haven't done it. So mea culpa, get those cords cut and removed. Like, you can, and especially with empaths and light workers and narcissists, those cords come and they're so strong and they're so hard to break. And Ralph, I'm all over the place, but I feel like you're definitely jumping timelines.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay, Blue Cross Road. Yeah, to me, it sounds like,
I'm not even
tired. Hard one for me to explain. I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Lara, is that happening on your end too?
Yeah, he's freezing and unfreezing occasionally.
And I'm getting reloads.
There you are.
Okay,
yeah,
there
all
you
three
are.
of mine, when you guys go, all three of mine go reload.
Yeah.
That means it's on your end, not mine. That's what, because I get that when it's on mine.
Let me try something. I'll be back.
Mike J. Mike J says, Gemma, I've been involved with this stuff all my life. Just don't mention it too often. It's not a thing that we're really compelled to talk about as we grow up, right? I know every time I would say, who's that? My father would put his head down and go like this, you know, and that kind of makes you as a little kid self-conscious and not want to talk about the dead people. I've kind of moved on from my, you know, like a year ago, I was super excited about coming into my abilities. And it's not that I'm not excited anymore. It's just like, now it's like, okay, this is me. This is what's happening. I wish it didn't happen at 40. I wish I'd embraced it a long time ago, but is it super freaking cool? Absolutely. But now I'm past that. And it's like, what can I do with this to help the collective? That's how I know I've changed, because I never think in terms of, even when I had the Black Dahlia with me, I was like, does anyone have questions? Like, what do you guys want to know? You know, I don't like channeling like publicly yet, but I'm going to get there. But, and it's a way of life. And I'm finally coming to realize that, like, I had to fake it till I make it. Some people might never get it. We are fortunate enough that we are understanding this in this lifetime, because, you know, some people say that it's not progressive. So you spiritually ascend in this life, your soul learns all these lessons, and then it decides, you know, it's going to go back to being brand new. It's not, that's not really how it works. What it is you spiritually transcend. Like, I'm dropping all of these generational ancestral patterns in this life as far as interpersonal relationship and abandonment. I've been abandoned by every single person in my life, including my parents, who have ever told me that they loved me at one point or another. I've reconciled a lot of those relationships, but that has a deep negative effect that I've had to work with. So my soul has learned these lessons, and I will not bring them into the next life. But what if I've never learned the spiritual lessons of being a murderer or being a murder victim? That doesn't mean I'm going back down the spiritual food chain. It means I'm coming in enlightened. I'm just dimming a lot to be able to have that experience. We all experience it. We're all the murderer. We're all the victim. We're all the teacher and the student throughout different lifetimes. Will I ever be brand new again? No. Will I get the abandonment issues and the abuse in the interpersonal relationships again? Probably, but it's not going to be my next 4 or 5 lifetimes. I can tell you that much.
Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
You did not
and
ever abandon me. And that's what
you know, may end up being that in that next lifetime, that now that you have come to that strong understanding of, you know, going through these relationships, you then turn around your next lifetime, you become a counselor. And so you're actually working with people to help them through their personal journey, you know, or it could be that, you know, you become someone who never has to experience that in that next lifetime. So, it's like a layer of clothing that once we've understood it, once we've worn it, we can set it aside for that next journey. But it's still there, and we can pick it back up and put it back on. But when we come into that next lifetime, it's not on us. It's not right there in the forefront.
Right. And we have to work our way towards being able to take it off. It's like that's a great way to put it. You have all of these different layers to like up here. And in each different lifetime, the goal is to take a layer off. Sometimes you get lucky and take 2 off, but you know, only ascended masters aren't incarnating again. You can choose not to incarnate again, but you can only go so far on the other side when that happens. And it's a whole, I mean, I could talk about this and talk myself in circles for hours, because there are so many contradictions. There are so many, you know, this person knows this for a fact. I know what I know. That's it. I know what I've seen.
Yeah.
Maybe it is different for other mediums and clairvoyants because their soul's experience throughout lifetimes, including all of the ones going on right now, on different timelines is different. Maybe on another timeline or in another dimension, the afterlife is just a little bit different, you know, just like it is for us. And it's, you know, it's a confusing topic, but I mean, that's why I think it was about a year ago, I was laying in bed and I was crying and I was just heartbroken and depressed. And that's what I was doing every day, crying myself to sleep at night, waking up in the morning, crying, did not want to get out of bed. It was just this pattern. I went through it for like 3-4 months. And it was like all I could do to get through the day until it was time to go to bed again. And it was almost becoming like unbearably too much. And I just got this download of this vision of me running a spiritual retreat and bringing people in. And that is my life's mission, one of them. And it's a big one, because I cannot run a place like that if I don't know what I'm talking about. If I'm not spiritually prepared, those places are places where we do spiritual battle, whether you realize that's what you're doing or not. Every time you grow in spirituality and ascend to the next frequency and keep doing the work, the manifesting, whatever it is you're doing, taking classes, helping others, you're like taking one for the team of good, of the light, of the bright side. And that's why, like, when I take it very personally when you guys tell me I've helped you through something, not for my ego, like, yeah, I did that, because I'm like, okay, that's awesome. I'm doing my job. I'm doing what I was put here to do, what I chose to do. Why? Because maybe I was killed by an abuser in my past life. And this is my soul's way of making up for it, getting out of the cycle of abuse and helping others come into spirituality. Maybe I was some kind of guru. Maybe I was Aleister Crowley. I don't know. But I know in this lifetime, helping other people find their own light is my absolute 100% mission.
Yes, it's your
I can't imagine not knowing.
purpose.
I've always known that I wanted to help others in some way, but I never felt like I really had anything to give, you know? I mean, and I really didn't until very recently. So, I mean, the lessons I've been learning, though, I can see it myself in my shift, and I'm just so excited about it. Like, I finally stopped looking for validation. I finally, in the wrong places, I finally really have a concept of what I can and cannot control and how things really are, as opposed to how I was trying to force them to be, how I was perceiving them to be through my Pisces, empathic, rose-colored glasses. I have smashed the glasses. Glasses on smash. Mike, what's up? Now get back to work. Thank you, Luca.
Oh, something I wanted to show you. I just got a brand new Oracle deck. And I think you're going to love this one. Let's see if I can get it up to the camera. That's the box.
That was on my wish list.
Oh my gosh.
That's on my wish list.
Yeah, the Herbal Astrology Oracle. And the cards, I pulled out a couple that are YouTube safe to show you. So, like, there's this one.
Oh, wow. Hibiscus. Yeah. Look at the art.
And
that's what draws me to decks, is the art. Whatever the meanings are doesn't matter so much to me. It's the art. Oh my gosh. Who did the artwork? Does it say?
I'll have to
on the deck.
look at the book. Let's see. Artwork is by Josephine Clerks, but it's an interesting spelling. Klerks. You know, look at this one. I don't know if I have
anything by her, but my gosh. I have that on my Amazon wish list. And I've been looking on Temu for Oracle decks, but most of them come without the book. Oh my gosh. I love them.
They are absolutely gorgeous. Oh yeah, then there's this one. This one's one of my favorites.
Palo Santo, yes.
You know, and I know you're like me.
I have
how you read the cards. You know, yes, we look at the card and its meaning in the book, but we read deeper. You know, so the imagery also speaks to us. And then of course we pull that information, we channel that information. So yeah, and then the back of the cards, really pretty. So I'm really excited to work with these. And I like that.
I have.
You've got.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I have them on my list and I was staying away from them because I wasn't sure. Like I have to connect with the decks, which is hard for me to order them, but sometimes that's my only choice. They're beautiful.
Hmm. You know what I had to do? Okay, yes, I saw some of the images and I thought they were very nice looking. I had to pull out my pendulum. And it's like, okay, yes or no.
That's how I choose
So with
crystals.
yeah, with the individual descriptions, they do give an upright and reversed meaning, which I thought was interesting. But they're not necessarily as strict as tarot. So,
Yes.
like for Blue Lotus, for instance, the upright talking about intuitive knowing, whereas the reverse talking about suppressed intuition. And then it goes
Yep.
into has one paragraph on the cultural and spiritual history of that particular herb, since it's the
That is
herbology,
so
and
cool.
then goes into the meaning, as well as then it has a little section for guidance. So you can read it as just the base descriptives. You can read it with the full meaning. You can read it just for the guidance. Yeah, so I think you're really gonna like it. It's gonna be worth the money,
That's
definitely.
awesome. Yeah, that is so cool. I never meet anybody who does Oracle. So it's always just like up to me with trial and error. So that is really cool. I try
Yeah.
my best to get at least 2 new decks a month, like with the donations and everything that come in. I feel like, I should at least do that, and then I pay for the streaming service and everything. But lately there's so many on Amazon that I want so bad, like the Solace Oracle. I want it so bad, but it's like
Right.
$45. And then there's another one, the Beloved Dead, and it's like $37. And I'm like, I think I'm going to swing for it. I'm like, I'll do it, a spring for it, but it's pre-ordered. So I'm like, okay. So then there's the Compendium of Witches. So those are the 3 that I've got my eye on right now: the Compendium of
Yeah.
Witches, the Beloved Dead, and Solace. Solace doesn't really have a lot of pictures, but I just instantly connected with it. But when I go to the crystal shop, like this weekend, I'm going to my mom's, so we'll probably go to the mall and just walk around. I usually try to, if I have the money, pick up a deck while I'm there because
Hmm.
it's the same price as
There's
Amazon, but I can physically connect with the decks
yeah,
instead of, just
and
visually through.
yeah, you can see if there is that energetic connection there. Also, when you're getting something shipped to you, you don't know whose hands it's passed through and what energies it's picked
I have
up.
to clear, I have
Um,
to cleanse them as soon as I open them every time.
yeah, first thing I did, opened it up, flipped through the cards a little bit, and then stuck my selenite in between deck in the box and let it sit.
Yes, ma'am.
And depending on how it feels, I may pass it through some sage or Palo Santo smoke. Um, One of the things that Sarah actually recommended, and I checked them out, so I don't know if you've seen them or not. Go to Hay House, just like it sounds, HAY house.com, and they have a huge selection of oracle
I
decks
think
as
I've heard of
well as
them.
tarot. And they have amazing sales and deals, um, monthly. So, it may be
Writing
that
it down.
all of the Llewellyn decks are on sale 25% off this month, or all of,
Ooh.
the angel oracles are 20% off, or, that kind of thing, or buy one, get one half off. So, definitely check them out because I'm with you. My first go-to is Amazon. And in part, I've gotten used to that living where I do. We're
Yeah,
limited as far as shopping goes.
me
So,
too. Me too.
having that alternative, website to look at, I think you're going to like it. Definitely.
I'm going as soon as we end, and Abe's books as well. they tend to have a lot of books that are out of print, like for the decks. So there's this,
Ooh.
I believe it's called Souls and Shadows Oracle deck that it looks gorgeous. I've really kind of connected with it already, but I cannot get it with the book. And it's one of those books where you have to download it. And for me, that's really not conducive to what I'm doing on Wednesday night. It would take forever. I'd have to use my phone, then texts are coming in. I just can't do it. So when I looked up the book, they said it's no longer in print, but that Abe's Books would probably have it. Amazon did. And usually when I can't find a book, it is available. They have a copy of it at Abe's Books. And Amazon is also that particular deck, though. I did find the deck for super cheap on Temu, because I'm trying Temu out so you guys don't have to. And I'm going to let you know how everything is, because I know a lot of people are wondering about it. I'm addicted already. I got RJ his whole summer wardrobe, and I got a really cool shirt for myself. So anyway, nice. I found the deck, and then I did get the book on Kindle. But again, it's like it's not practical for maybe for like a face-to-face personal, or if I'm reading for myself.
Right.
But I have to think about you guys too, because this is, I love what I do, and I love you guys, but this is my job at the end of the day. And I need to make sure that I'm doing my job to the best of my ability as well. And that's no distraction. Mike, yes. The third one or the second one? My third book, and I don't even like saying this out loud, but it's true. My third book is really not doing well, guys. Like, as far as sales, the Shadow Entity book. And I believe that's because I was not able to get like any interviews when it first came out. I don't know what was going on. People were bringing me on for interview and then canceling 15 minutes before the interview. So, hey, what's up, Netter?
Okay, so I know you are at least somewhat familiar with some of the various, as you would say, celebrity paranormal investigators. You've heard of the Holzer Files television show. We've talked about Cindy Kaza, and I love her to death. She's a great lady. She's a great medium. But yeah, I swear, if you looked at her cross-eyed, she would probably go, but
that's why she freaks me out.
Dave Schrader, okay, who was the main host of the Holzer Files, he does his own podcast. It's called The Paranormal 60. He has a couple of nights where he does like interviews and that sort of thing. Then they have what they call the Paranormal 60 News, which is an absolute riot. You will laugh, you will cry, you will drink. But one of the things that he does is he takes people like yourself who are paranormal mediums, they're investigators, they're authors, and will have them on for interviews. And talk about their work, talk about, their books. What I want to do is I want to get a copy of your latest book and send it to Dave so that, one, he's got it in hand to read, and two, send him your information and see about getting you on the show as a guest. Because on average, just his interview nights, which can be, like I say, broad spectrum. He had somebody on recently who just talked about being a high priest in Santeria, and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
He'll have 160 people or more in chat on the nights that it's live. And then the views on top of it. So just for exposure alone, I think
and that's
it would
what
be
I
great.
need, Lara.
And it's right up your alley. And so I've actually messaged back and forth on occasion with Dave. He's a very open, very sweet, very supportive individual.
I love him.
He
Yes.
is a people person out there doing the same type of work that we're doing, just on a slightly different level. Okay. And I know that it would be the right connection.
That sounds amazing. It's so crazy that you mentioned that show because there's a castle in the town I grew up in Paterson, New Jersey. It's soups old. It's from like when the late 1700s when Paterson was first founded. It's called Lambert Castle.
Penhurst?
I've been up there a million times. Lambert, Lambert.
Oh, Lambert. Yeah.
So
yeah.
I
Lambert.
went.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I've been up there. I mean, it's up on a place called Garrett Mountain, and Garrett Mountain overlooks all of Paterson. I used to go up there and play as a kid. As an adult, I would go up there every time before I went to rehab, and Ray would bring me up there, and we would look over out at Paterson, and I would cry, and like we'd take pictures at the castle, and it was a museum for a little bit. Now I don't know what it is, but Lambert Castle is somewhere I've always seen spirits. It's the first place I've told this story where I was a little girl and my dad and I were up there just having a daddy-daughter day. I was like 4 or 5 years old. I saw a little kid that I didn't know at the time was a fey creature that brought me into a portal. And my dad had called the police. He thought I was missing. I was gone for 5 minutes. I was really gone for like 5 hours. And to this day, he still remembers me jumping out of a tree and saying, surprise. But actually, I didn't. I walked back up to him and he's like, oh my God, where were you? And everyone tells me like, no, there's no history of that. There's no history of that. And I'm like, I don't care what the history is. I'm telling you that the castle has its own history, some shady stuff going on there, and a lot of magic in the woods of Garrett Mountain.
Yeah.
So my mom messaged me 2 hours before we started this stream. I was just about to cook dinner and she said, Gemma, the Holzer Files on the Travel Channel is covering Lambert Castle. I just watched it as I cooked dinner right before we did this stream. And for you to bring that up, that's so synchronistic. I would definitely,
I believe our guides are
because like
communicating.
Yeah, so it's like, yes, that sounds like a great opportunity, and I believe it'll work because why else would that synchronicity have happened? New Englander Roadie, I have to do this before we end. At least your cat sings to you and loves you. My cat, okay, he has not really calmed since he's gotten the surgery, which we didn't really expect him to because it takes 6 to 8 weeks for the hormones to get out of the system, and he only has until Monday to get his act together. I don't want him in the house anymore. I feel like, and I know this sounds mean, but for me, he's not worth the trouble. I wanted a pet, not another mouth to feed. I'm very unhappy. I walk past him. I'm like, hey, buddy, what are you doing? He puts his ears back and he growls and he attacks and claws out, not like playing. Like until I'm in the kitchen and I'm the only one home and he's hungry. Then he's rolling on his back and he's rubbing on my feet. And I'm like, I don't like you anymore. Like, I will feed you because it's my duty. He's like, and then as soon as I give him the food, he's back to ears back. I'm not doing anything. I'm literally just standing there. So I told Ray, I'm like, listen, I had a place for him to go. It was a no-kill shelter. And Ray was like, no, he should be a barn cat. And I know people who need a barn cat. So I'm like, listen, the kid who gave me him and who brought him to get his surgery left the carrier because we go to the same doctor. So I go to the doctor once a month. Monday is my doctor appointment. And I told him, you have until the 15th to find a barn for this cat to go live in, or we're going to return him to Pete. And Pete said he will look for someone who is looking for that type of cat. I don't think this cat should be outside. He is a feral cat, and I believe he will go after or attack the wrong animal and get himself killed. I think he should be in a home with a single dominant man. I'm the dominant one in my house. Ray never raises his voice. He never screams. I mean, it's completely flat emotionally. So, but with me, I get fired up. I get excited. I slam things. I yell. I throw things. I know you guys, a lot of you don't believe it, but I do. I get mad too. I'm only human. Yeah. And I talk very loud. I think that he wants dominance and he sees me as the dominant person in the house. So he's trying to assert his dominance over me. And I'm like, dude, you're a cat. Like I actually get angry with this cat and it makes me feel horrible.
They don't understand that.
Because I'm like, he's a cat. Exactly. I'm like, he doesn't understand that, like, if it wasn't for me, he would probably be dead. But it just, in my mind, something is not comprehending. And I've never been like this. I love cats. So I know for me and for the cat, we need to separate, because for me to be thinking these crazy things like this cat is so ungrateful, he's a cat. And my rational mind knows that. But when he hisses and growls at me, I'm like, who do you think you are? Like, I'm having conversations with this cat. Like, and his response is a growl. So I really need him to get out of here. He's also causing me a lot of energetic stress. I'm feeling uncomfortable, in a constant heightened state of anxiety, because when is he going to jump out with his claws and scratch me next? When's he going to go after RJ's face? He needs to go. And Ray's like holding on for dear life. And I'm like, don't you understand that the cat is not working for anyone but you? And even with Ray, he rips his skin open. The other day, the cat ran out right as Ray was coming in.
Yeah.
And Ray stopped him because he had gotten away for those 5 days. We thought he was dead. He came back like 5 pounds lighter. And Ray was like, get back in. The cat was hissing at him, claws out. So Ray couldn't even pick the cat up. He's like, Gemma, hand me that blanket. So I handed him the cat's little blanket, and he picked the cat up with the blanket, and he didn't throw him, but he like tossed him back inside because he still had to close the door and he was carrying something. This cat stalked him from a half hour to 45 minutes around the house with his tail going, his ears back like this. And as soon as Ray dropped his guard, the cat jumped on the couch and came flying through the air. Literally, it was almost comical. Claws out, fangs out, and just ripped his arm, just ripped it, and then growled at him and ran under the couch. This is not a cat that should be in the house with a small child. So everyone who is bothering me about being mean,
you're not being mean. You are being responsible. You are taking responsibility that cat is not in its best situation, that it is causing more stress to you and your family and the cat for it to be in this living situation. You're taking the responsibility of finding either a good barn home or a good rescue, not a kill shelter. If he goes to a rescue organization, a no-kill rescue, they are going to have people who are like myself, that are feline behaviorists, that are going to help place that cat in the best possible location for it to live a happy, healthy life.
Yeah, because I feel like he's not in his best spot either. Every time I walk past the thing, he goes like this and runs under the couch. So he's obviously not in his. He's afraid. He's terrified of me for no reason.
He's terrified. He's in stress. Yeah.
So, and it's not fair to him either. I mean, he's a beautiful cat. He's gorgeous, but he's just not for me. We don't mesh well.
I'm gonna tell you right
he's
now.
Like, oh yeah, you're a big deal. You're 40 times bigger than him. I'm like, I'm not bothering him. That's the like, I'm not doing anything. When he hisses at me, I'm like, stop it, and I scream. This is me off.
The people that are saying that have never, can't say 100%, but it is likely they've not experienced that on a daily basis.
Right.
So the whole reason I got into learning to be a feline behaviorist was because of a cat that exhibited exactly that kind of behavior and was surrendered to our shelter. Now, the difference being our shelter at that time was a kill shelter. And had that cat been adopted, and then his issue was biting, had he turned around and bit somebody, that cat would have been euthanized. And so to give him the appropriate chance, and also to help me learn to understand his behavior, I took him in. I took him in initially as a foster, and he was 6-7 months old at that time. I had him until he turned 18 years old. Okay. He taught me a lot. I taught him a lot. And part of it goes to Um, how was he socialized when he was very small? Did he have siblings to learn how to play properly as a cat or a kitten? Did he have a
That's what
mother that
I
was,
was.
there are so many compiling factors that go into it. Did he, when he was rescued, have one woman yell at him or threaten him in
That's
some way that triggered an emotional response that is now an instinctual response? So, yeah, honey, I applaud you.
I
You are doing what
thank you.
you need to be doing.
Thank
And
you.
don't let
And I
anybody tell you
appreciate that
different.
because I feel like being judged for rehoming a cat, I feel like I could have been a very evil person, like a lot of people I know, and opened the door and said, go ahead. I know people that are
Yeah,
like, just let him out. And I'm like, I can't, I'm still trying to do the best thing for the cat. I don't hate the cat. I
yeah,
don't particularly like him. And I will say this, we've had physical tests done. He's up to date on his shots. He's now neutered. There is nothing physically wrong where the cat's in pain. He's only about 9 or 10 months
right.
old. Um,
It could be
and good night,
all
anyone who's leaving. I
literally
love you guys.
instinctual.
Well, I got him when he was very young. I believe he was
Hmm.
about almost 3 months when I got him. What I didn't know when I got him, there's two things here. What I didn't know, one thing, he had been returned 3 times already in like a matter of 3 weeks for attacking, biting. I don't know the situation with the mother. When I first got him, I was
Yeah,
holding him. He's a cat. I didn't even know there were cats who behaved like this, indoor cats. I took my cat Bruce Wayne Springsteen from someone was literally throwing him away in the garbage, and I said, your garbage is moving, and he's like, oh, it's just a runt. I took that cat, and that cat was amazing, went right to the litter box, jumped
yeah,
in my lap, and that's where he stayed. So I thought all cats were like this because that's been my experience. So I'm cuddling him and I'm getting his food and I'm doing other things. He fangs and claws out, attacked my face, and I went, ah, and he dropped onto the floor and he had a limp
right,
for like 3 weeks. I said, this cat, that wasn't the first time he hissed at me, but I feel like he believes I hurt him because I did. And a cat doesn't know I accidentally did it because he was going to rip my face apart. He just knows
right,
that lady with that voice and that scent dropped me on the hard ground. He was limping for weeks. I felt terrible. And one other thing, when we first got him, he was in the carrier. Ray came up,
hmm,
put his hand in the carrier and pet the cat. RJ went by, hello. The cat just meowed. I went and said, hey, buddy. And he hissed and put his claws out at me. The second I met him, it's got to be a woman,
yeah,
I believe, did something when he was acting the way he was. Someone took him and
right,
threw him or hurt him in some way. And it's like you said, it's
exactly.
emotional. Human first, cat
Yeah.
second. I'm sorry, but I definitely agree.
So the one thing I will say, and a lot of people do not realize this, that, well, okay, let's backtrack. One, felines, adult felines will end up having the average intelligence and understanding of a 5 to 7 year old child. Okay, as far as
Wow.
their understanding of language, understanding of situation, and memory of what
Really?
is what's gone before. Where, um, yeah, they're quite amazing. But they can also, just like humans, have a psychotic break. So when they experience trauma, they can snap. With Malcolm, the one that came in as we called him our semi-feral, my wild child, um, he had come a long way in learning appropriate social behavior as a cat, how to cat, um, from one of our senior cats, Borden. And when Borden passed away, Malcolm was about 7 years old. Borden passed away, he was 18. Um, he reverted. He went right back to day one, like when I brought him in, to the point that he was up on his feeding shelf and my husband walked by him. all he did was just walk by him, and Malcolm turned around and wham, and hit him in the hand and bit him
That's
all
what
the way
Ralph
down through the
does.
muscle. And that psychotic break could be tied to, he freaked because Borden, when he passed away, he started having seizures. He was having grand mal seizures. Now, I'd had his brother had the same thing happen, and so I'd been through it 2 years before and knew what was going on, was able to calm them. They were still happening. It was still, okay, this is time. We're not putting him through this. But Malcolm saw him start having those seizures, and it just freaked, especially when Borden didn't come home. Because just like us, they grieve. They don't understand why they're gone and they never come back, or the carrier goes away and it comes back empty. So
yeah, he didn't understand that I accidentally dropped him. He attributes it to that lady hurt me. And when I wasn't here, I didn't plan on going. So I got the kitten thinking I was going to be here to play with it, socialize with it. But what actually happened is for that 6 months, Ralphie was left home alone for 12, 13 hours, all by himself with the run of the house, jumping on the tables, knocking things off the mantle, jumping.
Right.
So now I'm like, I don't want him on the table. He's knocking my pick. Like, I'm trying not to blame the cat, but I feel like if I'm in this type of situation where I'm constantly on edge and the cat is obviously terrified of me for whatever reason, it's just best we make the break. So I'm hoping Monday there isn't any BS like, just give me one more. Like, I can't give it any more time. I don't want the cat here. I'm getting to the point where, unfortunately, I really dislike this poor cat. This cat really hates my guts. And it's not working. So we need to do something about it. I don't want it to get to the point where he comes flying through the air and rips a chunk of my face out, but we are getting there because he goes and his ears go all the way back. We're ending in a couple minutes, guys. Anyway, I've got to get out of here.
I was just
I was talking to the chat. They were like,
no, go ahead, Stephen. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's a fact that every person is going to get along with every animal. There's always something. I had a lot of animals in my life, and believe it or not, out of all the animals I ever got along with was 2. And that was Puff, the dog we have now, and my little critters. Everything else they didn't like me and I didn't like them. We've had cats, we've had dogs.
I never had pets.
And I just never, I'm not really a pet person.
Bruce
Pup
my
belongs
first
to
pet.
Pup belongs to Giles. Well, actually belongs to Dad now, but pretty much belongs to Giles. I told him not to bring a dog home. As much as I love dogs.
All right, guys, I've got to get moving. I've got to get little guy in bed. He's in school now. So if you guys have anything else,
good night, everybody.
No,
other than Steven, you're streaming tomorrow at midnight.
Yeah, I want to be there.
If I'm allowed.
Put me in the back when you get ready to end the stream so that we can talk for just a quick second before we sign out.
Yeah. Yes. Okay.
And then, but yeah, let me know how things go. Remember that when you talk about having to find him a new home, it's talk about it from the point of view of what the cat needs. I think you'll get a better response.
Well, it is, I guess that is because I am looking at it that way.
That's what I'm hearing. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. It's hard though because I really am getting an extreme dislike for this cat, and he's getting one for me too. Though he just doesn't.
Exactly.
We just don't get along. Our energy doesn't match.
And
I do believe he's feral.
Continue to heterodyne.
And he's going to end up attacking me or RJ. So, all right, guys, I love you so much. Thank you for stopping in. If you need a copy of my book or want a copy of my book, you can get it on Kindle or paperback on Amazon. I believe the links are in the description box. If not, just email me. For anything else, email me, GemmaJadeParanormal@gmail.com. And on tomorrow night at midnight, Ghost Dragons will be here. And then next week we got 11 a.m. the Alaska and Bennington triangles. So that's going to be a good one. I just recorded it. All right. Lara, I'll put you out back. Steven, I will talk to you in a little bit. And yeah, night, guys. Aloha.